thoughts of Mike Steph. This marks a new beginning. Thanks for supporting a total reinvention. The soul is still here, but the vibe's a little different. Unpredictable, hide the kids and the women. Sports of all sorts, music mixed with living. Rep New York City, but hate the politicians. Always bring the heat, Steph bacon in the kitchen. Big shout to y'all, I appreciate the listen. Donnie put the rest, but I'm still in the best in the world of what I do. All y'all know the rest. I live it, I breathe it.
I bet we've been together for 1,000,000 years, and I bet we'll be together for 1,000,000 more. Oh, it's like I started breathing on the night we kissed, and I can't remember what I ever did before. What would we do, baby, without us? What would we do, baby, without us? And there ain't no nothing we can't love each other through. What would we do, baby, without us? Sha-la-la-la. What up, people? Welcome to another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, featuring the one and only Mike Steph, best in the world at what he does. And for this weekend, the best pop in the world. Yeah, man. I'm back for another episode. I'm back for another week. Hopefully everybody is doing as great as I am. This week will be a little bit different than what I've been doing for for like the months and months and months leading to this. This actually will not be a sports-centric episode. No. I will give a special segment of the dozens and dozens of Mike Steph listeners, something that they've might have missed, something that they've secretly yearned for, something that if you're not interested in the New York Metropolitan's follies and the New York Knickerbockers' disappointments and the apprehension on the upcoming NFL New York Jets season, then maybe I actually have something that you can actually delve into and enjoy. I will be discussing this week New York City congestion pricing once again. And not only the congestion pricing, should I say, there's a congestion pricing that is put on hold. Yes. Governor Hochul, aka Nurse Jackie, announced this past week that she is putting New York City congestion pricing on hold indefinitely. And I will be discussing what that means for the masses at large, what might have been behind it, and what's probably, I won't say what's to come in the future, because we don't know, because I think this is personally a political ploy that quite frankly, after the November elections, guess what's going to be right back on the table after everybody is, nice and fit in their comfortably newly won or newly saved political seat, congestion pricing. But I will give my expertise, if you will, on this ongoing development, this newly founded development in the city of Gotham. That would be topic number one. Topic number two would actually be, it would actually have something to do with sports, but really not to do with sports, if that makes sense. I should say a sports personality, if you will. Stephen A.Smith has been at it again. Stephen A.Smith is on his bullshit again. Stephen A.Smith is talking out his ass once again. But not only once, but twice this week, he's put himself on Front Street to be the uneducated, the ignoramus that he proclaims not to be, but he constantly shows himself to be. Two instances, once on his very own show, First Take, he got taken to the woodshed, and then on his other very own show, the Stephen A. Smith Show, on YouTube, podcasting, everywhere. He went on a soliloquy that I just think was very self-serving, and you can actually very transparent of what he was trying to get, the engagement he was trying to get. So I'm going to talk about that mother effer in only the way that Mike Steph can, with a little bit of dash of humor and some facts. Well, facts, according to yours truly. And last but not least, I will be discussing the inflation rate in New York City, but not the way you might think. I was reading the New York Post this past week, and an article came to my attention about the increased cost of the ice cream truck. Yeah, I know, like, huh? But just this article, actually, if you really think about the parallels that's going on into New York City with the cost of rent, the cost of food, the cost of gas, the cost of breathing, the cost of living, so forth, this is just like a microcosm of everything that's going on in the city of Gotham, in the Big Apple in itself. With this one little pink ice cream truck out in Astoria, Queens. And I figured, it's a slow week. I'm going to get off the Caitlin Clark bandwagon. I'm going to get off the Caitlin Clark train this week. And I'm actually going to keep it nice and local for the city. So, yeah, I'll be giving my thoughts about that. And that's what's on deck this week. I don't know how long ago, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how long ago, because I'm not beholden to anybody. I'm not beholden to anything, because I've said, ban me. I'm already banned. Ban me. I'm already banned. Ban me. I'm already banned. Or am I? It's for you to be the judge. Before I actually get into the full episode, I like to just share with y'all. I was able to spend part of the weekend with not one, not two, not three, but my 4 grandchildren, all at the same time, for the very first time. Me and Mrs. Ooh, we was able to bask in the glory of watching them interact with each other, watch them interact with their with their cousins around their age, watch them act with their nana, their aunts, their uncles. It was a very beautiful thing. Emotional at times, I'm not gonna lie, but it was something that, if I could be serious for a moment, actually was needed, I guess, to ground me, or to ground us, that certain feelings we might have on the day-to-day monotony, or the day-to-day BS with our jobs, or what have you, relationships, what have you, friendships, what have you, that at the end of the day really doesn't matter if you don't have that connection of family, both immediate and extended. And also when you can look at these young beings, these extensions of a part of you that is no longer in the physical, but you can see the extension of them right in front of you, and like little quirks and little faces and little habits, and everything just molds together. It's truly a beautiful thing. Truly a beautiful thing. So we was able to enjoy them this week. Kept it minor. Went to IHOP. All the kids love IHOP. And it's funny because everybody got lunch except for me and Mrs. Ooh. We got breakfast. Go figure. But they enjoyed themselves. They enjoyed each other, most importantly. And it's something that we have to do on a more regular occasion, in the future. And that's definitely on the agenda, if you will. So that was great. Not going to say anything about my shoot job, because my shoot job really just pissed me off this weekend. Because on one hand, they tell you they want you to do this. And then when you do this and you try to do it to the utmost, maybe to fit your own agenda, but when you're still trying to do it to the utmost, and then they say, doing too much. Well, that's what you want us to do. Fine. Kind of get you a little irritated. But that's why I said the dichotomy of bullshit at work, come home to family ties, if you will. Ha ha ha. What will you do, baby, without us, without love? It just kind of just, like I said, it grounds you, it settles you, it senses you, it gets you right with your inner chi, if you know what I mean. So, with all that being said, I think I'm gonna get this show up and running. Without further ado, good night and goodbye. Nurse Jackie puts New York City congestion pricing on hold. ... Indefinitely. Nurse Jackie, aka Governor Hochul, flip-flopped on the congestion pricing issue. Major controversy and major political ramifications, both positive and negative. With the elections coming this November, a concession had to be made not to give away too many votes from those who could sway the margin one way or another, in my humble opinion. Now, I'm going to, at the risk of a copyright situation, which I had last week, now I'm trying to give the masses maybe a little bit more than they deserve. I'm going to play the video that she put out explaining, well, actually announcing that congestion pricing is going to be on hold indefinitely, and explaining the reasons why. Hit it.
Issues that are very much on the minds of New Yorkers. First and foremost, I understand the financial pressures you're facing. Over the last 5 years, New Yorkers have seen the price of groceries alone go up an average of 23%. Think about the cost of a dozen eggs, more than doubling from $1.20 to $2.86 all over our country. Housing prices have increased by 17%. The cost of childcare has gone up almost 20%. And the strain on working and middle-class families is just too much. That's why, since becoming your governor, one of my priorities has been to address affordability and keep and put more money back in your pockets. That's why I fought to raise the minimum wage and tie it to inflation, doubled tuition assistance, held the line on income taxes, and invested billions in affordable childcare. Our policies must support everyday New Yorkers, like our small business people, police officers, firefighters, teachers, healthcare workers, truck drivers, and not add to their financial burdens. So let's talk about congestion pricing, which would impose a $15 charge on cars entering Midtown and below, beginning in just a few weeks. Now, it was enacted 5 years ago to achieve two essential goals: reduce traffic and emissions in New York City and provide a funding stream for much-needed capital investments in public transit. It was also enacted in a pre-pandemic period, where workers were in the office 5 days a week, crime was at record lows, and tourism was at record highs. Circumstances have changed, and we must respond to the facts on the ground, not from the rhetoric from 5 years ago. So after careful consideration, I have come to the difficult decision that implementing the planned congestion pricing system risks too many unintended consequences for New Yorkers at this time.
She is funny. he's talking about, oh, this was enacted and this was brought up in a pre-pandemic time. This was enacted, this was brought up in the pre-pandemic era. But yet she's on record, both visually and audio-wise, backing this as recently as this past May, which technically May was only just maybe 2 weeks ago. But it sounds like to me that somebody got talking to from the real powers that be and said, listen, squash this shit if you know where your bread is buttered. The Hochul administration is staring at the grim prospect of having to flush $500 million in taxpayer money down the toilet over this botched congestion pricing scheme. This could have been avoided if Nurse Jackie and the MTA seriously studied what the economic impact on New York residents and businesses would have been by charging the drivers $15 to enter Manhattan below 60th Street. That to me is asinine. Look at all the things that they put in place. Easy pass readers, license plate scanning cameras, and other infrastructure needed for the program are already mounted, ready to go at 110 locations south of 60th Street. The company that they use to implement all this technology in the city, TransCore, a Nashville, Tennessee-based company, completed the bulk of the work this past year as part of a 6-year, times 3, times 2, 6-year, $507 million deal with the MTA, awarded in 2019 to design, build, and operate the wildly unpopular program. Think about it. Think about this for 1 minute. In their rush to jam through this war on cars cash grab, yeah, I said it. Because listen, you're talking to a mother effer that recently had to adjust their car insurance plan and take it off of full coverage and had to do liability. And I'm still paying four and change a month, close to $500 a month. You have speed cameras all over the place, right? You have more and more metered areas, but less and less space to park because those parking spaces are being taken up by city bikes, by the city bike program. Yeah, so when it said a war on cars, that's exactly what it is. A war on cars. Now, this is ironic in itself, but I'll just leave it at that. Republican representative of Staten Island, Nicole Malliotakis, said the following. The Biden administration rubber-stamped it and issued a finding of no significant impact, allowing the MTA to bypass a full and thorough study of the environmental, social, and economic impact of congestion pricing. Because she was part of a lawsuit filed against the city fighting this plan. Likewise, in their rush to grab more money from hardworking New Yorkers, Nurse Jackie, aka Governor Hochul, and the MTA put up these census. When it comes to actual capital improvements, the MTA is always delayed and overscheduled. But when it comes to tolling infrastructure, guess what? They're right on time. If not, matter of fact, they're early and can get things done efficiently and in record time. I say it's ironic because anybody know I don't bleed red. Matter of fact, I don't bleed blue. I don't bleed red. Right down the middle, Daniel. But not gonna lie, does actually ring true because like it's like bleeding, trying to get blood from a turnip, a tulip, or both. Sources. These sources. I'm not going to divulge my sources, but these sources said the deafening silence is in part due to the state and city leaders having no idea what to do with the infrastructure. You got all this stuff that's put in place, and now everything's put on hold indefinitely. What you going to do with it? Huh? What you going to do with it? Which amounts to, at this point, very expensive municipal art, said the source. Now, another quote from Councilman Keith Powers, Democrat. So y'all don't accuse me of leaning from one side to another. Democrat of Manhattan, who supports congestion pricing and represents part of the targeted tolling zone, said the equipment could be used to expand the city's red light and speed camera programs. I'm going to go back to this picture. Does this look like we need more cameras to regulate speed and red lights? That's how it is in the majority of the city during rush hour. Do you know on my block, and I live in Crown Heights, do you know on my block, right around school time, there's a constant stream of traffic? But no, not steady flow of traffic. No, constant gridlock. It takes you maybe about 25 minutes to go 2 blocks around the corner. Because these 2 lanes, because I actually live on a 2-way street that used to be 2 lanes, have now become 1 due to a bike lane. Then they have some type of coordination with the light that make the light go quicker and quicker and quicker. Now, albeit I do live in an area where I got at least 2 schools in my vicinity. 1 3 blocks one way, 1 3 blocks the other way. So I do get it. But what's more dangerous, having a steady flow of traffic or having gridlock traffic where the children are trying to cross streets to go home, and of course you got idiotic drivers trying to catch that light? Just asking. Back to the effing sources. He also said, and this is Councilman Keith Powers, also said that it could potentially be used to help track down owners of vehicles using obstructed or ghost plates to avoid tolls and tickets, and to install newly approved noise cameras to detect souped-up car. Really? So pretty much that's what my tax money is supposed to be going to? Because y'all decided to put this shit on hold, but the money's already spent. So now we're gonna try to get rid of, because that's a plague in the city. Souped up cars. Yeah, that's a plague in the city. Ghost plates. So I got an inspection the other day. I guess my shit is considered a ghost plate, right? Because they said, your plate is peeling. Maybe because of the extreme heat, or maybe, just maybe, because motherfuckers don't know how to park and they want to pump. Pull up to the bumper, baby. Bump into your fucking car to make sure that they have enough space to get into the parking space. And you know why? Because parking is so damn limited. But I digress. Nurse Jackie. Oh, no. That's not Nurse Jackie. That's somebody wearing a Family for Safe Street shirt that looked like they're a little bit how can I say, challenged in the pectoral area. Nurse Jackie on Wednesday shockingly slammed the brakes on the program's June 30th rollout, saying that she's pausing it indefinitely because it's not the right time for New Yorkers facing a cost of living crisis. No shit. No shit. I could have told you that. Could have told you that 2 years ago. Matter of fact, I probably could have told you that, especially over the last couple months, because for some reason, even though I was ducking and dodging and I was doing fine, this shit caught me red-handed. This shit caught me to the point of, oh, yo, where the fuck my check go? Yo, I just got, and why is my, nothing is, how? Why am I pulling out this other card that's not connected to my bank account? That's actually just going to fuck me over even more, and my 3-digit number just going to go lower and lower and lower because I'm using this instead of the cash flow I used to have, because now the cash flow I used to have is slowly dwindling. It's slowly slow is coming out the faucet slower and slower now to a drip, even though I actually just received an increase. Make it make sense. Nurse Jackie ditched MTA congestion plan, saying, matter of fact, Nurse Jackie, who's likely to run for re-election in 2 years, which, to tell you the truth, that's really the crux of this matter, is she knows that this was not a popular decision. And yes, even though she's really kind of based upstate, from my hometown of Buffalo, New York, home of Griselda. Everybody knows you win the city, you win the state. Whether it's gubernatorial or whether it's presidential, you win the city, you win the state. And when I say the city, I'm talking about the 5 boroughs. And that 5th borough that's on its own, that a lot of people say really belongs to Jersey. Unfortunately, they're a key swing borough. That little island to the east of us, called Long Island, that's also a swing area. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to determine it, those 2 areas, a lot of the population has money. Not only has money, but has money that the politicians respect. The politicians are, to a certain degree, beholden, like, yo, okay, they actually put X amount of things behind this situation, behind their talk. Their talk leads to action. Maybe it's a fait accompli that the reason their talk leads to action, because they know if they do open their mouth, action will come. I don't know. It's almost like, what come first, the chicken or the egg? What come first, the chicken or the egg? I took it back to Sesame Street. Wow. Am I grasping for straws? But these 2 areas would be directly impacted by congestion pricing. A lot of people don't want to have to be beholden to mass transit, to the Long Island Railroad, to Metro North, to New York City Transit. And in a lot of ways, they did themselves a disservice, and I'm talking about the Hochul administration and the MTA did themselves a disservice by trying to force this down everybody's throat, but not really spelling out clearly exactly what the positives are going to be, as in increased service, safety of service, more bang for their buck. Because remember, prices, the fare just went up in the last year. So you're pretty much taxing people an extra $15 per entry, but they're not seeing any reason why this $15 should be taxed. Just saying. Now, Nurse Jackie, like I was saying, she's likely to run for re-election in 2 years. But she has been facing mounting public pressure over the dreaded toll. She didn't think that the New Yorkers should pay a fee at a time where the cost of living has gone up so drastically. But what caused this epiphany? Like I said, you was just on record in May saying this shit. Now, another source close to our office said the following. The governor is concerned about the economic recovery in Manhattan and the cost of living. New Yorkers are struggling. It's not the right time to do it. No, it never was the right time to do it. It never was the right time to do it. Now, all these people saying, well, she created to, or she bowed down to a small minority of people when the large majority uses mass transit, and being in fact this funding that was the funding for all these projects of mass transit was supposed to come from this congestion pricing, and it was short-sighted. I think the whole thing was short-sighted to begin with. Now, the delay in the congestion pricing plan doesn't require legislative approval, but the state Senate and the Assembly would have to approve legislation to make up for the subsequent revenue loss to the MTA, which have been slated to receive roughly $1 billion in revenue a year from this plan. Hochul's office at the time did not say how it intended to replace this $1 billion of missing funds, but sources said that it potentially could entail increasing taxes on the Big Apple businesses by adjusting the state payroll mobility tax. Now, another option that was said, another option could be to tap into the state's reserves. Okay, when we're already tapped out, when we're already crying broke because of the influx of the migrants coming into the city, coming into the state, right? What reserves do we have? What reserves do we have? I'm asking it truthfully. Like, I don't know. I mean, if we had any reserves, then everything wouldn't be so sky high. You wouldn't be trying to still drain whatever is possible, right? Now, the governor has stated that she has $1 billion available to replace congestion pricing as a funding source this year. But as the chair of the Senate Finance Committee, I am not aware of what she's referring to or where she believes this money is going to come from. State Senator Liz Kruger said in a statement. The legislature certainly will not be rushing to raise taxes on hardworking New York City residents and small businesses due to her error in judgment. This delay was met with cheers from some of the toll's biggest critics on both sides of the aisle. It's welcome news that Governor Hochul is considering delaying congestion pricing due to our pressure, the public's outcry, and concerns it will impact the Democrats in November's election. Once again, Representative Nicole Miliotakis said. Josh Gottenheimer, representative from New Jersey, also celebrated the impending announcement. After a 5-year fight, New York appears to have done right by hardworking Jersey families and backed off of their outrageous congestion tax, he said. The plan's unpopularity was not lost on the Hochul. Another source close to the governor. She got leaks like a motherfucking faucet. A source close to the governor, noting a recent Siena College poll that indicated most Democrats, even Manhattan liberals, oppose the plan. Now, Mayor Benson, Mayor Adams said this past Wednesday at a morning press conference that he supported Hochul's decision to delay the toll and adding that congestion pricing should not be an undue burden on everyday New Yorkers. If this mother effer don't stop this BS, like I said, where was everybody? Where was everybody? Where was everybody with these hot takes when it was about to go down? Huh? Where were they? I'll tell you where they were. Nowhere to be found. MTA board member David Mack said he was pleased with Nurse Jackie's decision, adding, I have always maintained that this was the absolute wrong time to impose an additional tax on a region that is still recovering from the aftermath of the pandemic. As to whether this decision was politically motivated, I simply say that if, at the end of the day, the correct decision is made, it is made based on the political will of the people, then the political system has actually worked, he shrugged. Also chiming in, TW International President John Samuelson, who also serves on the MTA board, suggested that the governor's decision is a case of I told you so. The idea to push the toll back was supposedly planned by Representative Hakeem Jeffries, who was aiming to win back the Democratic majority this year. A source told Politico, which reported that Nurse Jackie was considering pushing back the plan as late as last Tuesday night. State Democratic Party Chairman Jay Jacobs insisted that the governor's decision to pull the plug on congestion toll pricing had nothing to do with the House races, but had everything to do with affordability. Yeah, all right, my ass. If that was the case, you don't wait until 3 weeks after you had all these public hearings and you was right on the side of the pros, and now all of a sudden you switched to the con side. Fuck out of here. Nurse Jackie touted the congestion pricing plan as recently as May 20th. In December, she even patted herself and other supporters on the back for their political courage. From time to time, leaders are called upon to envision a better future. Be bold in the implementation and the execution and undaunted by the opposition, she said. Hochul's flip-flop was met by hostility from mass transit advocates, some of whom are on this screen right now, and said the governor needed to stiffen her resolve. Maybe you need to stiffen your bra. Maybe, just maybe, you need to get a better fitting shirt. Maybe, just maybe. You know what? I'm gonna relent because I'm about to go way too far. Maybe, just maybe, you should be concerned about those mosquito bites on your chest and not about this congestion pricing. New York City public transit riders. New York City public transit riders gave Nurse Jackie her margin of victory in the 2022 election. Stopping congestion pricing before it even starts would be an outrageous betrayal of our trust, Rider Alliance Executive Director Betsy Plum stated. Congestion pricing is the only public policy that can make our subway more reliable and accessible. speed up slow bus service, and help clear the air as wildfire smoke thickens. Governor Hochul must turn it back on this coming June 30th as planned. Listen, to put a bow on this whole thing was fluid from the beginning. The arrogance that was shown, especially during the hearings, at the hearings, and immediately preceding the hearings, say the truth, serves everybody right that was on the side of this congestion pricing. Because I started thinking, I'm like, look, because the price of food is too damn high, me and the missus, we go out to Sam's Club, we go out to Walmart outside of the city, because guess what? Years ago, they stomped that shit into the ground. They didn't want Walmart in the 5 boroughs. So guess what? We must leave out the 5 boroughs to go to Walmart, because everything else is too damn high. But I started thinking, I'm like, hold on. So now, do I pay the $15 so I can just get off the Brooklyn Bridge and cut through Chambers so I can go directly to the Holland Tunnel? Do I take the Manhattan Bridge and just go straight down Canal Street to go through the Manhattan Tunnel? I mean, to the Holland Tunnel? Or do I come across the Brooklyn Bridge, take the FDR Drive, take the roundabout way so it connects directly into the West Side Highway so I can go up the West Side Highway to the Lincoln Tunnel to avoid $15? Do you not think that's going to be a congested ride doing that extra 2 mile, 3 mile around the loop? I think I was thinking about this maybe about one day before they put a hold to it indefinitely. And I was like, yay! And now how about me coming back from Jersey? So I'm supposed to pay, what, $15, $16 for the tunnel? And then as soon as I get into the city, another $15 just to get to Brooklyn? Or I come back around. Let's say I come through Staten Island. I got to pay the Gotham's Bridge, and then I got to pay the Verrazano. Either way, I'm getting screwed. So the money I'm saving from going out of state to go food shopping is being recouped by the city that's not giving me enough fucking options to stay in the city to go food shopping. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? So it's flawed from the beginning. And for all the talk of we want people to come back to the city, we want the workers to come back into the office, especially if you live in the outer boroughs, maybe you didn't mind driving in the traffic. So now you had to make a choice. All right, am I going to spend $75 a week just to drive my vehicle plus gas? Or am I going to quote unquote save money, but maybe get stuck in a derailment, maybe get stuck into a delay, maybe get stuck because some idiots want to ghost ride on the fucking train, want to surf the train, maybe because some idiot wanted to stab up somebody. Especially if I'm not about that life. If I have my picket fence and my 40 acres in a stitch, do I want to get on the public transportation? I don't know. But these are questions. These are questions that we're going to need to be answered. But right now, at least it's on hold for the time being. Like I said, they're gonna put this shit right back on the menu at the beginning of this, end of December, beginning of January. And they're gonna push that shit through. Cause now all they have to do is just green light it. Everything is already in place. There was some talk about maybe they was going to try to sell this equipment to California. You think California wants some secondhand shit that's overpriced to begin with? Nurse Jackie. I swear, I wish I knew her theme song because I would sing it. But maybe Nurse Jackie need to pop another pill because look like she got a big headache on her hands. Stephen A. Smith is at it again. In a week in which he began it by making headlines, by getting flamed. Yeah, I said it. By getting roasted. Yeah, I said it. By getting put in his place on his own show, First Take, by the lovely Monica McNutt. He ended it, well, should I say, he began this second week by going on a soliloquy explaining the need for Will Smith to apologize. Now, I apologize to Will, not apologize to Chris Rock. No. I don't even know why we're even talking about this. What, 2 years later? But no, that Will Smith on the weekend, coincidentally on the weekend of the newest Bad Boys movie, him and Martin Lawrence are starring in, and I think they grossed over $56 million over the weekend, something to that effect. That Will Smith needed to apologize to the black community. Yes, you heard me right. The black community at large for his actions of smacking fire out of Chris Rock at the Oscars a couple years ago. Now, let me start once again with the First Take embarrassment. Yes, those looks on your face for all my YouTube viewers. Looks on the faces of Stephen A.Smith and Monica McNutt perfectly encapsulates what everybody was thinking and what this disagreement really came down to. Stephen A. thought he was too big to get checked on bullshit live and in living color. Monica McNutt is like, look, you brought me over here. You bring me on this show to speak my mind. You know how I get down. You know I keep it real with no filter. And it's not even me trying to play you. It's just the fact that we're debating. We're supposed to have a certain rapport. So I feel like I can speak freely on this platform. Evidently, I'm mistaken. But guess what? I said what I said. Deal with it. What the fuck you want me to do? Stephen A. Smith, along with Molly Curran and Shannon Sharp, were discussing the increased attention of the WNBA, and more specifically, the incident that happened with Caitlin Clark and Kennedy Carter last weekend in the Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game, in which Kennedy Carter gave Caitlin Clark a hip check, in which Caitlin Clark exaggerated on, and it was like pretty much World War IV. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even say that. It was just like, oh my God, y'all got to protect her. What are they doing? They're going overboard, blah, 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 blah. Now, that evolved into a discussion about why they should protect the golden goose, a.k.a. Caitlin Clark. But this is where things started getting good. Stephen A. started saying that it wasn't right, that they had to watch how they talk, how they had to pierce their words when they talked about the WNBA wasting potential opportunities. When they say, when these situations come up in male sports, they say the exact same thing about the men. And that he resented that. And then, to me, this was where he made his fatal flaw. Then he compared the difficulty of women navigating the world to the plight of black men. So, of course, Monica McNutt, being a woman and being a black woman on top of that, resented what Stephen A. said. Like, all she said was, listen, welcome to the world. Welcome to being a woman, where everything is being parsed and pierced, where you have to figure out the perfect balance of what to say, what not to say, how to say it so I could be taken seriously, and so forth. And guess what? Stephen A. didn't like that. And then Monica stated that Stephen A. Smith could have put more of a spotlight on the WNBA in the past than he did. Oh boy, did he get offended. Did he get offended? Hence, the look on his face. I'm going to go back to the picture because does more justice than I can. He got offended. But the thing was, the reason why she put him on blast for saying that you could have been bringing a spotlight to the WNBA. Now, so she specifically was talking about the WNBA. She wasn't talking about women's sports. She wasn't talking about black women. She wasn't talking about women in general. She was specifically talking about the WNBA. The reason she put him on blast because he started touting about how they were the leader in women's sports talk and such, which is not the way it's been in reality. Don't get me wrong, like they've had segments here and there, but I remember a lot of times they would have like the last 5 minutes of that. I think when we was talking about the WNBA finals last year, it was like maybe like, all right, quick thoughts before we go off the air type thing. So like, who you got? Oh, I got the Aces. Oh, I got the Liberty. Oh, I think the Aces coming back. And then Pat McAfee came on. So, or Sports Center, whatever the hell came on after that. So it wasn't like they was leading off the show with a 40-minute block, like with this segment ended up doing 40 minutes straight over the myriad of avenues that they ended up going in, talking about the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, and so forth. But like I said, by him trying to play like, listen, First Take is the leader and such and this, and we've been doing this and we've been doing that for women's sports, blah blah blah. And Monica's like, yeah, well, could have been doing that for years if that was the case. But what he did next was foul as fuck. Really was foul as fuck to me. And what he did next was he went on his own platform, the Stephen A. Smith Show on YouTube, and he eviscerated her while saying, oh, I got love for Monica, Monica, da-da-da-da-da. But he was saying it like offhand, like pretty much saying, well, the reason why y'all know Monica McNutt is because I put it on my platform. I put it on First Take. I put that spotlight on her. Like she hasn't been covering the WNBA for years. Like she wasn't a star player of her own at Georgetown. Like she hasn't been in this media game. Like she isn't present, front and center, pre-game, post-game of the New York Knicks or MSG. Like she hasn't called New York Knicks games on ESPN radio. And this is before you put it on your platform. And then he start going down the line. But before he start going down the line, it's the fact of he did the shell game. He moved the goalposts. She checked him. She questioned him about the WNBA. He started talking about pretty much like he's the star maker for all these women that he put on the platform. Who allows, who brings women, black women on First Take more than Stephen A. Smith, more than First Take. Who spotlights these women? Who the Kimberly A. Martins, the Carrie Champions. Before, back in the day, Jamel Hill. Who, the Shanays, the Lashenas. Who put them on? Who puts them on? I do. So for her to say that I don't spotlight women or we don't talk about women's issues is categorically false. That's not what she said. That's not what she asked you about. Like I said, you start going down the line. But that would have even been, to me, that would have even been okay if he had the ample opportunity to bring her on his private platform. All right, you know what? Since you checked me on air and I still have a grievance, either we could talk about private or we could talk about it on my platform, no holds barred, and we could get to a understanding. Since he's saying he's done so much for her, why don't you bring her on the platform? I'm quite sure she wouldn't have passed it up. But what made it so glaring is that he went on a 25-minute soliloquy because he needs to get his point of view out there. He needs to get his narrative out there uninterrupted. You know whose platform she was on later on that night? The other person that was on that segment, Shannon Sharp. He had her on with Hochil with the nightcap, and they discussed what happened earlier that morning on First Take. And they came to an agreement, pretty much like, okay, I felt this, y'all was feeling this, this is what I was trying to get across, and it was a meeting of the minds instead of, you know what, I'm going to go over here, I'm going to dog her because she had the audacity to question me on my own fucking show. She won't be on First Take no more. I'm actually shocked. I wouldn't be surprised if we see her on First Take no more because he knows the narrative around it. If she automatically just disappeared from First Take, everybody's going to know, oh, Stephen A. got in his feelings. But at the same time, I would be surprised if she takes the invitation, like, oh, you dogged me out, and then you want to bring me back on? And then I guess, in other words, like I'm supposed to know my role now? So if I don't come up with that same energy, it's going to look like you put me in my place. So actually, it's a no-win situation for Monica, not for Stephen A. Now, not only that, and now this was slightly different, but still in the same time span, Bomani Jones had Monica McNutt on his platform. He's no longer affiliated with ESPN, but look, what you call colleagues are colleagues, friends are friends. And they said there's been like 2 months in making. He was trying to get her on, but due to responsibilities, you know, especially with the Knicks run or whatever, it just so happened when she had a free spot, this exploded. Listen, still, come on. And once again, wasn't a bashing session. We're just like, look, what was telling to me was the fact that she said she had no idea that doing her job was going to cause all this, or was going to turn into all this. That she thought that a debate could happen with different viewpoints without anybody taking it personal. That in essence, she thought they were cool in that. She's like, look, you know, I know if you my homie, and we disagree on something, we could challenge each other without each other getting in each other's feelings. Like, you know what? All right, fine. Especially if it's on something that has nothing to do with us personally. It's a fucking issue. It's a topic. Evidently, like she said, evidently, I was wrong. But she found out that no one, absolutely no one, knows up Stephen A.Smith. Either you kiss the ring or you gone. Or you gone. You don't play Stephen A. like that. It reminds me of Paid in Full. Gurman! Listen. Look at this. Here. How about you get this? Here, Ace. You take this. And I need this picked up by tomorrow. You can keep the change. And I'm Stephen A. Smith. I do the damn thing. I walk and talk like a boss. Paid in full. Don't I look like an older Calvin without the gazelles? Don't I? Now, the real Smith situation is what really kind of pisses me off, or what pisses a lot of people off at Stephen A. Smith. He's made himself, and this is, like I said, this is what really gets people about him. He's made himself the spokesman of the black community without anybody wanting him to be the spokesman for anybody. It's right now, especially this particular incident with the Will Smith situation, it's an obvious ploy to get his name in the headlines due to the success of the Bad Boys movie this past weekend. And perhaps away from the major gaffe that he experienced this past week on his own show. And possibly maybe just to get enough attention that maybe, just maybe, Will Smith will want to come on his fledgling show. To me, it's quite transparent on why he's mentioning this thought process now and in this manner. Because to me, to bring the potential effect it's had on Chris Rock was suspect. Like him saying, even though he may look okay, he might be at Knicks games, that he did the deal, he did the show with Netflix for $20 million, which, by the way, after taxes was $6 million. Why are you in that man's pocket? Even though he may look like he's okay, he's not. Even though he might be making money, he's changed. He's still damaged. That, and along with the mental illness angle, mentioning his trauma, isn't on him to discuss. It really isn't. Especially now. Now, like, to me, this is grifting. The whole definition of grifting at its best, at its finest. It's this mindset that makes him so bitter, or made him so bitter back when him and Max Kellerman were together, when people would take Max's side on social issues and make him look like the outlier. That Terrell Owens, to this day, you can't tell me that Terrell Owens going on that platform when they were talking about Colin Kaepernick and telling Stephen A. Smith, yo, Max is blacker than you. It's like he's been trying to overcome that from till that very day to this very day. I've been trying to get over that. Because nobody love the kids more than Stevie A. Nobody does more for the community than I do. Nobody puts a spotlight on these issues more than I do. I prove this message. But how about this? If he's not careful, mark my words, because it's starting to get to that point. But at the same time, he's protected. But neither here nor there. If he's not careful, his elongated 15 minutes of fame, which has been technically, I guess, 15 years of fame, will be up soon. He's torching a lot of bridges. And he's pretty much to the pinnacle of whatever heights that he's at. He's to the fullest of his power, of his powers, that is. So what goes up must come down. And he's very close to, on his way down, realizing he's going to be falling without a parachute. The price of ice cream. The ice cream is too damn high. The price of ice cream trucks have skyrocketed, even with this being even more proof of the insane cost of living in NYC. Actually, it's more ammunition for Nurse Jackie for her about face. Now, like I said, I came across this article in the New York Post this past week. It's a very innocuous article, but it's very apropos to what I've been talking about with the cost of living and the inflation. And yeah, like I swear, people, when I was talking about last week with Karen Cowherd and how his perception wasn't reality, and it's almost like puts people in a position that when they disagree with what he was saying about Mr. Orange, that it's almost like we're defending him, which we're not. And shoot, but I came up with the MAGA. Make my ass great again. Yeah. You know what? Let me get back to this article. Here's a quote. I gave her $20 thinking I was going to get some change back. And then she told me it's more. They got me good, exclaimed Henry Fernandez, who forked over $26 to treat his 2 kids to a small sundae and a shake float after playing soccer in the park. Some people are taking advantage of the inflation, man. And I agree. Like, did y'all see the prices on that? Matter of fact, let's go back to that again. Let's look at this. A single cone, ice cream cone, $5. 3-ounce cup, $5. Okay. A double cone, twice the cone, twice the ice cream, twice the money, $10. A sundae, $12. Milkshake, $12. Huh? A shake float, $14. So a shake with some stale ass soda, with some flat ass soda, it's extra $2. Okay. Soda float, same difference, $14. A raffle cone, $12. An ice pop, pretty much like a Rocket Pop or SpongeBob or whatever, $5. The cheapest thing is soda and water, which is probably a can or a bottle. And of course, that's if you use cash. If you use credit, add extra 99 cents. Are you serious? All toppings are free. Oh, wow. Thank you. That's the least you could do. I'm spending $50 on a couple cones. Like, imagine that fucking truck would have came around my way. And my grandkids are out here and they see the ice cream truck. Guess what they're gonna want? They're gonna want some ice cream. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell them, nah, y'all can't have no ice cream. Nah, Pop broke. Even if Pop was broke. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell them that? No, I'm gonna get them the ice cream. So let's say everybody wants some shakes. So I'm paying $50 for 4 shakes. Think about it. You want a sundae? $50 for 4 sundaes. $20 for 4 cones. Ice pop, $25. $20 for some ices. That's crazy. Many patrons griped that they were unaware that they were getting gouged up until the treats were in their kids' hands because the prices were displayed in a very tiny font near the roof of the truck. I got a picture of that too. That's the truck. This is the zoomed up version. Trust and believe, it wasn't that big. That's the truck. You really think it was that big? Tell you the truth, any truck that looked like that should be suspect for having too much paint. And no pores. And no. I don't want to hear nothing. Yeah, I know it's June. And that wasn't a slight. I'm just saying. I don't want no ice cream for something that looks like have Pepto-Bismol in it. Just saying. Once you give your kids the ice cream, you're going to take it away from them? They're going to get pissed at you. And then you're going to have a difficult situation, said Allison Bruce, who forked over $14 for a raffle cone for her 11-year-old son. First of all, 11 years old, fuck you eating the raffle cone for? Take him to the parlor. Take him to Haagen-Dazs. Get some real shit. Listen, I'll get a cup. I'll get a cone. I ain't getting a waffle cone for that. Anyway, ice cream trucks and ice cream shops have raised prices in recent years between 5 to 10% annually due to the higher labor, food, and gasoline costs. Okay. Now, Angelina Pirro, age 19, said some racist shit, who manned the truck, admitted the prices were not completely perfect, but justified her employees' sky-high fees as a result of inflation and premium pricing for the location. But listen to this hot shit. In the Bronx, you can get a regular cone for $3, but look at the area you're in. No one's going to be there. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm going to get this one little story before I finish up with this topic. Back in the days, we used to have about 3 ice cream trucks that came to the block. Everybody know Mr. Softy, which, you know what? We had Mr. Softy, the blue and white truck. We had Mustard King or Custard King, the green and white truck. And then we had OJ's ice cream. Yeah. OJ's ice cream truck was interesting because OJ's ice cream truck never really had much. Only came around a certain time of the year, a certain time of day. Didn't really have much. The people that ran the truck looked kind of shady. Needless to say, OJ's ice cream truck was similar to the ice cream truck in Friday, except it wasn't selling no weed. So one day, and this is 30 years ago, so it's not going to incriminate nobody, and I'm not going to give no names. But one day, OJ's ice cream truck came to the block. The wolves were starving. The wolves figured out what was on that truck. The wolves said, you know what? Guess what? We're going to come up. What's he going to do? He going to call the cops? So, from the safety of a fire escape window, I was able to witness OJ's ice cream truck get robbed in broad daylight. They ran up in that truck. They took the bullshit ass ice cream, but in reality, they took the other white that was in that ice cream truck, along with whatever cash and paraphernalia was in that ice cream truck. And needless to say, OJ's ice cream truck never came to the block ever again. That was the short version. But yeah, anytime I see, even nowadays, when I see one of these ice cream trucks that just don't look too kosher, first of all, I'm not buying nothing from an ice cream truck. I'm sorry. Where the fuck do you go to the bathroom? Where do you wash your hands? In the days of post-pandemic, nah. I don't think I've had a gyro or as Charles Barkley would call it, street meat in years. I don't think I've had any of that shit since the pandemic. And even before the pandemic, I was kind of leery because every time I have some of that gyro meat, all of a sudden I would just have a case of the bubble guts, case of the runs. So you think I want to add some dairy to that? Plus that custard? I don't know how often y'all clean that machine. At least at McDonald's, I could always say, all right, fine. The machine gets cleaned sometime because that's why half the time you can't get no ice cream because the machine is down. The machine broke to clean the machine. Which leads me to another topic that I'm going to get out of here. Has anybody had McDonald's ice cream? I mean, milkshake lately in the last couple years? I stopped drinking that. First of all, they changed it. But One time in particular, I had the milkshake out, right? And I didn't drink it right away. So, you know, it starts separating, which I'm like, ice cream is not supposed to separate. Sure enough, it's separated. So the bottom, this part, was clear liquid. Clear liquid. And the top was white. Once I saw that, I was never getting any type of ice cream product from McDonald's ever again. McFlurry, frozen yogurt, none of that. Because what the hell with this white liquid, this clear liquid at the bottom? I was going to say something that's going to be very vulgar, but I've done very good this episode, so I'm going to refrain from doing that. Ice cream, it's too damn high. Well, people, that brings us to the end of another edition of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making me end this here podcast the one y'all choose to view and the one y'all choose to listen to. Next week is kind of up in the air because next week is Father's Day, or as I affectionately like to call it, Happy Motherfuckers Day. And I'm not sure if I'm going to either be around to do a podcast, feel like doing a podcast, or I might have a trick up my sleeve for a special episode of said podcast. So I really don't know. The one thing I can tell you to do is check the community section of the Mike Steph channel, YouTube channel, and I will probably give you an update on whether or not to expect the episode. Or how about this? How about this for a grand idea? How about you press like? How about you subscribe and press that notification button? So if I decide to give a special Happy Motherfuckers Day episode of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast, y'all be the first ones to know. Y'all be the first ones to view and the first ones to listen to it. How about that? Before I get out of here, I'd like to give a special shout out to the homie Zal for my lid for this week. I don't know if you can actually tell the actual color on this lid, but this is actually a dark green Met hat that he imported. Yeah, I said it right. Imported from myself and Smitty from the group home in Bergen Beach. Hopefully he got himself one as well. Because if he didn't get himself one as well, I'm really going to strangle the shit out of him next time I see him. But because I am the fashion plate, the fashion icon as that I am, somebody would probably be like, okay, Mike, you got a blue shirt on. Why do you have a green and white hat on? Because I coordinate like none other. This green actually matches this green in the shirt that Teddy right here is rocking with his corduroy jacket. The white, the green and blue matches. Can't tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing. But anyway, another thing is, look at this. This is something I've been meaning to bring attention to. And because, like I said, I don't want to risk having a copyright thing, I'm not going to try to take the video. But the new secret whole body deodorant ad. One of the main points of the whole body deodorant was to get the spots that regular deodorant don't get to. You see this girl, you see this woman, you see where she's spraying. Not only why is she spraying her crotch, which by all means, listen, gotta keep it fresh and tidy down there. I get it. My concern is, why does this have to be the poster child, or should I say, why did this woman have to be a woman of color to be the poster child for making sure, well, matter of fact, not making sure, but trying to imply her crotch and she needs to think about it. Think about it. No, that always, that just made me scratch my head because I watched another video. I mean, another commercial today. Lumi or Lumi. Pretty much is another whole body deodorant. And guess what? They didn't have her spraying her fucking crotch on the screen for less than 30 seconds, saying, "Yeah, everything needs to be fresh." Then even look at her face. She sprays it like, "Yeah, I'm not fresh down there. Now I am." Some bullshit. But what can I say? I guess I could say this. The Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph podcast is available on the following platforms: audio version, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, amongst others. New episodes of the audio version drop each and every Wednesday. Check me out on the social medias, which, yeah, right, at Mike Steffens __ on Twitter, on the gram at Mike _Steph, and on TikTok at Mike Steph _. Cash at me some money. I'm dead serious. Cash at me some money at $ Donnie Mike. And check out my new blog, MikeSteph.org.wordpress.com. MikeSteph.org.wordpress.com. Because I'll have some posts, and lately I've been putting up fucking episodes on the blog. So I'm multifaceted. That's my own little cheap way of having a website. Because you think I'm paying for domain names and all that? No, that's why the name of it is MikeSteph.org.wordpress.com. Because until I start getting some money coming in, I need to limit the money coming out. And as much as I want y'all to see this vision of grandeur in 1080p HD on every screen, every device that's available, and in some cases 4K, guess what? StreamYard, y'all ain't getting an extra $25 out my ass. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So unless y'all cash at me, y'all cash at me $25, guess what? Next month I'll go HD. And I'm not asking, but I'm just saying, y'all want to see this a little bit more clearly, then y'all know what to do. Right on time. Right on time for my plug. Hidden Gems Football, hosted by the Mojo King and myself. New episodes during the football season drop each and every Thursday on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group. But even more importantly, start looking for Hidden Gems Football, because we're coming up to you. We're coming back beginning of July to start getting y'all ready for the training camp for the upcoming season of the NFL. So we're going to go division by division, team by team, of their pros, their cons, and all types of shit. So please check us out on the 19 Media Group YouTube channel. And last but not least, please check out my brothers from Gimmick Infringement, Winchester and McDowell, in which they drop each and every late Sunday night, early Monday morning on the YouTube channel of the 19 Media Group. And I just got the notification that they're about to drop in 28 minutes. So I'm going to read the description so you don't have to. Brad and Tyler recap the highly anticipated NXT Battleground PLE, including Kalani Jordan's massive moment, Roxanne Perez versus Jordan Grace, and Trick Williams leaving Las Vegas with a championship. Also, the guys discuss Lola Vice defeating Shayna Baszler in the NXT Underground match and what could be next for each superstar. Other topics include a new edition of Trap Tales. Well, I haven't had no tales of trap because, look, I swear, when I first heard of Trap Tales, I was like, wow, yo, Brad and Tyler in some shit that I never thought in a million years they'd be into. Trap Tales? I bees from the trap. Yeah, I bees in the trap. Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Phoenix, Mercury Magic. Hill, Chris Statlander. And Ricochet's impending free agency. Tune in with the guys from Gimmick Infringement. Check them out on X at Winduster and at Tyler J. McDowell. And check them out at GI Pod 19. Yeah. So I think that's all for the plugs. I think that's all for the announcements. And I think that's it. Stitch. Wow. There you go. Stitch, you got anything to say? He has his trusty friend Sharky. Shark Boy over here was left once again by the Tribal Princess, because we've been trying to get the Tribal Princess to take Shark Boy over here down to where she's at, but she always leaves it. So it's probably for the best. So when she comes up here, she gets to play with Shark Boy. So I figured I'll get Shark Boy a little cameo along with Stitch. And yeah, you know, Stitch is kind of bald headed right now because he don't got no hat, because I had to move the hat so they don't mess up the brims. Listen, yeah, I can still be a conceited dude. I love the kids, but not butts. I love my kids and I love my hats. Not evenly, but still, sometimes you gotta choose. And I love my kids, so I put the hats out of their reach. So therefore, we don't have to have no disagreements. Ha ha ha. So until next week, possibly. I bet y'all do. Stitch, you got anything to say? Stitch said it's entirely too late, and I need to stop bullshitting on these Sundays and staying up until something past something in the morning to give y'all what y'all need. Because personally, he says that I actually care probably more than I should. But that's just the benevolent dude that I am. So until next week, possibly, I'll see y'all later. Goodbye. Stitch, that was some bullshit. Hey, you shouldn't have did that. You know, listen, we're going on 5 years strong. Actually, matter of fact, next week will be 5 years. 5 years that I've been doing podcasting. Oh shit. Yeah, fuck it. 5 years next week. I've been doing podcasts for 5 years. And I probably got a total of maybe, matter of fact, I'm not going to tell you that, but 5 years next week. So it looks like I probably will be giving y'all an episode. I just talked myself into giving y'all an episode. So either it's on Motherfuckers Day, which is actually the 5-year anniversary, or it'll be the day after. One or the other, but y'all getting an episode next week. So be easy. Goodbye.